Tonight, Regina Public School Board votes to keep police officers in schools after a review. Also, while the debate continues around the government's parental rights bill, the NDP is highlighting issues around daycares and care homes in the province. Plus, the first First Nations person to serve as a provincial premier is sworn into office in Manitoba.
And no matter which barriers you have to overcome on your life's path, that the road to success is open for you.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, October 18th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Red Pheasant Cree Nation near North Battleford marked a major milestone today, one that is giving much-needed hope to community leaders. They've been dealing with an overdose crisis on reserve and say they need things to change. Pratush Dayal reports.
Breaking new ground in a special sword-turning ceremony at Red Pheasant Urban Reserve in North Battleford, some 40 years after the First Nation assumed control of this land in the city. The plan is to construct a 17-unit commercial retail project. This barren land will soon get the community closer to its goal of economic development.
We're kind of targeting our young people that are going to high school, so they won't have to be traveling from the community to the city, so they can have a place in a city where it's more easier access for them.
Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations Chief Bobby Cameron says this will revitalize the community.
The hopes are huge, and this is just the beginning. It's just the tip of the iceberg, what you saw today. Obviously with the gas station, I think condo units are coming, and a whole strip mall. There's going to be big opportunities here, and with big opportunities come employment, come revenue, come the economic spin-offs for the city of North Battleford. Positive thing all around.
A sense of excitement for a First Nation that's been struggling as of late. The reserve, 33 kilometers south of North Battleford, is grappling with the fentanyl crisis. Last month, the community declared a state of emergency with 8 overdoses in a span of just 3 days. None of them were fatal, but since January, there have been at least 10 overdose deaths in the community. Indigenous Services Canada says it has deployed 4 more mental wellness therapists to the community. Chief Benson is thankful to the RCMP for boosting its presence in the community.
They have to wait like 10-15 days before they admit it.
But the lack of addictions treatment beds on the reserve is an ongoing challenge. Benson sees the new construction project as a sign of hope.
It's going to bring a lot of jobs for our young people, and it's maybe, the way I look at it, it's going to have a better future for our next generation.
The construction is expected to start within the month, with no timeline yet for completion. Pratush Dayal, CBC News, Red Pheasant Cree Nation.
The Peter Ballantyne Cree Nation has declared a state of emergency due to escalating violence in the region. The First Nation consists of 8 communities, including urban reserve land in Prince Albert. Last month, a 17-year-old was killed in Deschambault Lake. The chief says the tragic death underscores safety issues due to rising violence.
It's getting to the point where people are living anxiety 24/7 now, and it's not a safe environment. We need our police forces to care for our community members as if they're protecting their own family. We do have challenges where officials or RCMP come to our communities and they leave in 2 years. We need a better relationship with them.
Chief and Council declared a local state of emergency last November and again in January. They point to inadequate housing and high unemployment as 2 issues fueling tension in the communities. Police officers are staying in Regina schools. The Public School Board made the decision last night, putting it in line with the Catholic Division. The School Resource Officer program was up for review after criticism from some community groups. Jesse Anton reports on what happens next.
Now I will ask all in favor. Please state yes or no.
Molson, yes.
McMurchie, yes.
Weeks, yes.
Cummings-Truskowski, yes.
Gilletta, no.
Ted Gilletta was the only Regina Public School Board trustee to vote against a motion to keep police in schools. The decision comes after a comprehensive, nearly 400-page review of the school resource officer program, the first in its 43-year history. The program puts 15 police officers into different schools, sometimes in plain clothes, other times, like this Toronto program, in full uniform with guns. And the report found that specifically makes some students feel unsafe, especially those who are Black, Indigenous, or LGBTQ. It's for that reason Gilletta came up with his own motion. He called for armed officers to be removed from Regina Public Schools by the new year, and for the program to be paused pending a complete redesign. But no one voted for it.
McMurtry, no.
Weeks, no. I'm disappointed, but as far as I remain trustee, I'll be calling the school division to accountable. I'll be advocating for those marginalized.
Board Chair Sarah Cummings-Truskowski says there will be changes, but she maintains removing police without any kind of supports to replace them would be irresponsible.
Police are one of those things that staff do count on to use in, violent or abuse situations, but there are all kinds of different supports: counseling, psychiatrists, trauma-informed groups, addiction specialists that we have in our schools, but we need more of, and we just don't have that right now.
Regina Public is now set to work with the Catholic Division and police to revise the program. Together, they plan to create a student advisory team and to collaborate with the diversity, equity, and inclusion leaders to make marginalized students feel safer. The school board says it hopes to have an update on the progress at its February meeting. Jessie Anton, CBC News, Regina.
MLAs are still debating the Parental Bill of Rights in the Saskatchewan legislature. It invokes the notwithstanding clause to avoid judicial review of its pronoun policy. Today, the Saskatchewan Federation of Labour issued a warning to the government.
And if the Sask Party does not change course, we will make our support of the notwithstanding clause as uncomfortable as possible, because we know that this is just the first step, and we don't know who they're coming for next, but I suspect it will be working people.
Job was joined by Barb Cape, the president of SEIU West, outside the constituency offices of MLAs Gord Wyant and David Buckingham in Saskatoon. Cape says that people aren't talking about what she called the circus happening in the legislature. She says people are worried about making ends meet, how to pay for groceries and gas, and that they're talking about the staffing crisis in the healthcare system and the needs in our schools. Cape says it's not just unionized employees asking for change, it's workers right across the province. Both women agree that the government has put the spotlight on the wrong issues. Now, the Parental Rights Bill is not the only thing up for discussion at the legislature. Earlier this week, we told you about a childcare report highlighting issues parents are having finding daycare spots. One Regina Centre has 1,900 kids on its waiting list, despite a promise by the province to create 28,000 new spaces in 5 years. 2 years ago, the province signed a deal with the federal government to create $10 per day childcare. But those who run early childhood education centres say the province committed to the plan before having the staff in place. Today, directors of childcare centres in places like Regina, Rocanville and Whitewood were at the legislature. They say the government is ignoring their calls to make changes, which would get workers trained faster and paid more.
And I think it's insane that we expect our ECEs to be college educated and then we're giving them, just above the poverty line for wages. I think they've done a great job with the enhancements that they're giving us, but they have to go further. They have to do more. There has to be more done.
The group that visited the legislature were not able to meet with the minister. Education Minister Jeremy Cockrell says the government has increased wages and says training spots are available. Family members of residents in a soon-to-be-closed care home also took their concerns to the legislature today. They say the government and the Saskatchewan Health Authority should keep Regina Lutheran Home open. Last month, the private operator, Eden Care Communities, announced it was not going to run the home in 2024. The home's 62 residents will be moved to other locations. One family member has her brother and father in the care home and is worried they'll be split up. She says the answers from the minister are not good enough.
After sitting in and listening to the minister blame Eden Care for the closure of Regina Lutheran Home, I'm disgusted. Eden Care has been running that facility on bare bones support from the government for many years. They are closing because the government did not provide the necessary financial support to keep this home opened. It's the government who is closing this home. They took over the Extendicares. They can take over this home as well.
The family members say the home is a community. They want the province to take it over. They say at a minimum, the home should stay open until a new facility can accept each resident. Minister for Seniors Tim McLeod says the SHA determined the home was not viable. Investigators say a fire at a homeless encampment in Regina that left one man seriously injured was unintentional. The fire started yesterday afternoon at the encampment just off Halifax Street. Fire and Protective Services say it was the result of misusing an open flame device in a tent. It was quickly put out, but was the second fire at the same place in roughly a year. This afternoon, all that remained were the charred remains of tents and personal items. Bylaw officials posted an official notice this afternoon ordering the property owner to clean up the lot. If that's not done, the city will do it and pass the cost onto the property owner through taxes. In Manitoba today, a new Premier, Wab Kinew, and his cabinet were sworn into office. It was a first for Canada. No First Nations person has served as a provincial premier before.
I, Wabanakwit Kinew, do solemnly swear.
Kinew's new Democrats won a majority in the October 3rd provincial election. Also sworn in today were the first two Indigenous women to serve as cabinet ministers in Manitoba's history. Things might get a little stinky in Saskatoon over the next while. New landfill gas wells and piping are being installed at the landfill to expand the gas well field and to collect more methane from decomposing waste. The city says it may temporarily lead to some noticeable odors in surrounding areas depending on wind direction and speed. It also says that won't pose any health risks to residents. The gas collection and power generation system reduces more than 50,000 tons of greenhouse gas per year, the equivalent of taking more than 10,000 vehicles off the road. Right now, the system produces enough energy to power 1,200 homes each year and brings in about $1.3 million for the city from sale of power to Sask Power. Construction started this week and is expected to last until late November. Holy moly, you cannot really tell, but this is a time lapse of the fog this morning in Saskatoon. Behind all that, the Broadway Bridge. 'Tis the season for big temperature swings. We'll see what the rest of the week has in store when Ethan has his forecast for us after the break. Stay with us. The Saskatchewan Roughriders have lost the privilege of controlling their playoff destiny, but they could still clinch. But they need some help from other teams. The Riders have held the final CFL playoff spot for weeks. They could have clinched a playoff berth last week against Calgary, but they fumbled the opportunity, losing 26-19. The loss gave the Stampeders the advantage in the regular season matchup between the two teams. A win against the Toronto Argos on Saturday would help the Riders' playoff chances.
I don't think there's going to be any more pressure on those guys. If anything, I think it will be less pressure. Last game of the year, chance to go out with a win, chance to play with your teammates one last time. Hopefully not the last time, but one last time for sure. I think the guys are going to feel less pressure this game than they have the past month, and I think we'll play better because of it.
Saskatchewan ends the season on a bye week. If Calgary loses Friday and Saskatchewan wins Saturday, the Riders make the playoffs. If both teams lose this week, then the Riders have to hope that Calgary loses next week as well.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac. Truck Mania is on now.
Our weather specialist, Ethan Williams, joins me now. I guess the real question about the Riders Is Mother Nature a Rider fan?
Yeah, well, if it's this year, yes. I think that is the one good thing the Riders will have on their side is some nice seasonal fall weather. And it's been really nice today after that low pressure system has cleared out of the province. We saw some rain, some wind yesterday, and that all just kind of dissipating away. You see a little kind of pockets of showers here on radar from a little bit earlier today, but definitely things even starting to clear a bit in terms of cloud cover in southern Saskatchewan. Still hanging on, though, in the north. But temperatures have come down. Yesterday, we saw some in the 20s, especially around Regina, Moose Jaw, kind of portions of southern and southeastern Saskatchewan. Today, we've all kind of just been hovering in the teens. We got to around 15 or so, but we did actually end up getting close to 20 degrees in portions of the southwest. But you see the big temperature drop off here into east central Saskatchewan, only sitting around 6 in Hudson Bay. Just how much have we fallen since yesterday? Close to 10 degrees in places like Regina, Moose Jaw, and Estevan. You go further west and things have not dropped as much in Swift Current. And in fact, in Maple Creek, where it was really unsettled yesterday, we've gone up since yesterday. Just how strong were those winds? Between about 60 and 70 kilometers an hour yesterday for the most part. Swift Current, we actually did manage to get over that, but today, much different story. Again, those gusts in kind of the 20 to 30 range for the most part, and they continue to come down now at this hour too. Now, in terms of what we're looking at for the cloud cover over the next little while here and some showers here and there, I think tomorrow we will start to see a very sunny day through the province, and those temperatures warm back up. Could get close to 20 again in much of south and central. The north, though, staying cloudy with some showers, and that'll remain a theme over these next few days here as we get not only into tomorrow, but also as we head into Thursday or Friday as well. This next low pressure system bringing through some showers through the northern grain belt and the Churchill region, some scattered showers to the far north, and then that cloud cover just hangs around for Friday while the rest of us begin to clear out. And those rainfall amounts generally going to be heaviest through the Churchill region, I think, and it could be in that 5 to 10 millimeter range between Thursday night and early Friday morning. So nothing too serious, but just a heads up if you've got plans. Now for Regina, we'll be basking in some very nice conditions tomorrow, and things will get a little bit breezy again on Friday as that low pressure system moves through. Enjoy the weekend. Could be the last one before, yes, we do start to see those snow flurries in the forecast on the board there for Wednesday. And those temperatures, you notice, very sharply dropping off. In the span of just 4 days there, we're getting down to just 2 degrees. Those overnight lows as well starting to drop very much above seasonal for these next couple of days. And then as we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, those minus temperatures appearing once again. For Saskatoon, again, unfortunately, you are not spared from that chance of flurries either. But hey, let's not pay attention to that for just a few minutes here, because tomorrow's going to be a really nice sunny day with temperatures nearing 20 degrees. Again, that low pressure system probably not going to bring you any rain, but definitely breezy here and there. The weekend clouding over a bit as we head toward the end, and then those minus temperatures return. So yes, Sam, a return of the snow, but hey, we're a week out. Things can change.
Two things. You need to work on your doom voice. And dig out scrapers and snow boots and stuff this weekend while you have the time, and don't leave it till it snows Wednesday.
I wouldn't go that far. I'll be optimistic and say maybe just some longer pants and shirts. How about that?
Longer
and
than
a jacket.
Oh, okay.
And a shovel.
And a shovel.
Just in case.
Just in case. Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
A man from Nova Scotia has been designing and making Halifax and Nova Scotia themed costumes since 2021. His latest creation is a take on the famous Halifax Harbour ferry boats. Other outfits that have made a splash include the Citadel Clock Tower, the Waterfront Wave, and of course, the Peggy's Cove Lighthouse. All the costumes are part of a project called Becoming Halifax. We'll be back after the break.
When it comes to your news, you want up-to-the-minute access. Anytime, anywhere. Get the facts straight from the source. Download the free CBC News app or visit cbcnews.ca for news you can trust.
Welcome back. The blast at the Gaza hospital has triggered growing anti-Israel and anti-American anger in the region, and organized protests are spreading. Susan Ormiston has the latest.
In Ramallah, in the occupied West Bank, shuttered shops, marking a general strike here and 3 days of mourning. Here, Palestinians are resolute. In their court of public opinion, Israel is wholly to blame for the carnage in the hospital explosion Tuesday.
And I didn't sleep since yesterday.
You didn't sleep?
No. No, because how can we be normal? How can we sleep? How can we eat? How can we drink water?
Haneen's life at 23 is on hold with this war.
The Israelis say it wasn't them. They say it was Islamic Jihad.
It's always like this. They always do this. They said we never did this, but they are the one who did this.
No matter what Israel says or how it defends itself, that it had nothing to do with the hospital strike yesterday, this crowd in Ramallah doesn't believe it. There's calls for protests like this over the next few days.
Already rippling across the Arab world, protests in Tunisia, in Jordan, and Cairo showing support for Hamas. In Lebanon, clashes around the U.S. Embassy, America being drawn in further to the wider conflict. For them, President Biden arriving today in Israel saying it was the other team just proves the U.S.'s complicity.
The first thing is, if we are two teams, and the Americans are on that Israeli team, so what do we have to talk about? He will always be with his team, regardless of what they tell him, regardless of all the lies that Netanyahu is telling him. He's siding by Israel.
It's not lost on the Arab street that the U.S.'s role in this war is expanding.
This is unfortunately hurting the image of the United States. It cannot be a mediator, it cannot be fair, it cannot be supporting international law.
In Ramallah, several clashes, including one where 2 teenagers were shot dead Wednesday, supporting Hamas. Every day that Gaza is pinned down, deteriorating, Palestinians' fury grows louder. And the facts, if unearthed, are effectively still buried under recriminations. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Ramallah.
And Ethan's back with one last look at your forecast. No doom in this one.
No doom. In fact, if you're really brave, you may not need a jacket when you walk out the door tomorrow. If you can handle 6 degrees at 8 a.m. in Saskatoon, it is going to be nice and sunny. Winds not too bad either. Heading into the afternoon, sunshine sticks around. Will be around 15 degrees, going toward a high of 19 tomorrow. Nice and sunny. Same thing in Regina, where we're looking at that sun tomorrow. Also starting off at 6 degrees as well. Winds a little bit out of the west, but not too bad. And then 17, possibly hitting 20 degrees tomorrow. And these nice autumn nights providing some gorgeous sunsets as well. And also some beautiful foliage too, even though they are starting to fall off the trees a bit, Sam.
There's some stuff to work on over the weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
And before we leave you, today the latest recipients of the Saskatchewan Protective Services Medal were recognized by Lieutenant Governor Russ Morasti and Provincial Secretary Don Morgan in Regina. The medal honors people with at least 25 years of exemplary service in Saskatchewan in the protective services field. That includes, but isn't limited to, police, fire, corrections, border services, RCMP, armed forces, as well as mobile crisis and family violence outreach services. 178 people will receive the medal this year. Some of them actually already received it in Saskatoon in September. Recipients receive a circular medal surmounted by St. Edward's crown that bears a Latin motto. When translated to English, it reads, "Who guard the citizenry." Congrats to all the recipients. And that is it for us tonight. For news anytime, head to cbc.ca/sask, find our YouTube channel, or download the CBC News app. Ethan and I are back tomorrow at 6. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.